So,
Well, I mean, and this
anyway, here we go.
Oh,
But anyway, yeah. What were you gonna say?
I don't know. If Pat wants to keep talking douchebags, please go ahead.
No, I don't know. I was just talking about Gavin Newsom. So
Go
I
on.
don't really know anything about him, man. So um, he just looks douchey. So
Well, okay, so I don't think he looks douchey. I think he looks greasy. And
greasy. Okay.
as far as I'm concerned, everything about him is greasy. His relationship to Nancy Pelosi being her nephew.
Oh, he's her nephew?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't fucking know that.
Yeah.
All right, he just the grease factor just went up a little
Yeah,
bit.
exactly.
I didn't know that. Is it like an actual blood nephew, or is it
Yep.
like by marriage or something?
I don't remember which side it is, but they're absolutely related.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they're 100% related, and this week the I don't know if you saw this. This was where the Weinstein trial is in effect.
Weinstein.
Harvey.
Oh, Harvey.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Wait a
don't
minute.
huh?
He's on trial?
Yeah.
I thought he got convicted. Wasn't he living in
Like prison?
Yeah.
Don't ask me. I guess this is like the other part of it. I don't know.
Oh.
But
Oh, you know what? I did see something that like Mel Brooks was gonna not Mel Brooks, Mel Gibson was gonna testify as was it Mel Gibson?
yeah. See, this is the thing is there's new stuff coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Including Newsom's wife had to testify that the relationship that she had with Weinstein was consensual. So a lot of people were like, number one, I didn't know that happened. Number two, you're a willing participant.
Uh,
But that's sort of...
is his wife hot? I don't even know what she looks like.
She looks fine. Like,
Oh, okay.
I guess here's the thing is... when you're married to someone of that stature, you have a general expectation of like attractiveness that you'd say like, wow, okay, if she were here, she'd probably be the prettiest person in the room.
Well, yeah,
Well,
clearly.
it's you and me.
By the way, I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey, and Patrick and I are evidently fucking ugly as the day is
Yeah,
long. But yeah,
definitely.
I get that. But I mean, given the fact that they're in California and Hollywood, if you put her up against any of the other pretty people, you're like, oh, okay, she's fine.
She's a Beverly Hills 6, huh?
I don't know if Beverly Hills is the metric for this,
Oh,
but
okay.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
So anyway, she did the deed with the Weinstein. So
Consensually.
the bridge troll. Do you believe her on that?
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe, Patrick. I believe that if you're to go by what the actual definition of consensual means,
Well, then yeah. Okay, fine.
then I'd say that he's roughly near, I don't know, probably 99%.
Who, Harvey Weinstein?
Yes,
Yeah, probably.
because that is to say that...
So if you're going by the definition of consensual, yeah, no, I want the job, so I'll do this kind of thing.
Exactly.
But
yes.
it's not like, oh, I want to do this because I'm into you. So
All right, you're so funny. Right.
Right, yeah.
You're just so handsome.
I guess that's where I would put consensual, but I guess you're right. So basically, like, the hooking, I guess, is consensual. So-
Again, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, if you want to get into the aspect of like, but with something like this, a quid pro quo should be illegal, right?
Well, it distinctly is.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
So,
you didn't ask me that. You're asking me if it's consensual.
yeah, okay.
And remember, because the alternative is, okay, well then go audition somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Now, is this an endorsement of said behavior?
Oh, absolutely
Absolutely not.
not. Yeah.
Please do not
No.
take it this way.
No, Harvey Weinstein is exactly where he should be. So,
But I'm
I
just
don't know. I think they should have castrated him.
like chemistry, like chemically or regular.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the rubber band method.
Well, he does have a beautiful singing voice, so
Right,
I guess
yeah,
you want
he
it to
just
stay
fine
that way.
with it,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Just keep that sweet soprano going for the
Ave Maria.
sound like a beautiful
Yeah.
11-year-old for the rest of his life. Yeah, so that was cute. Yeah, I guess the biggest things, let's see, the big hubbubs, if you're gonna call them that, the Dr. Oz Fetterman debates.
Oh, I haven't paid any attention to that, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I like so I heard Fetterman speak like one time before he was actually struck down by stroke.
right.
So, and I don't know, man. So I wasn't too impressed with him. Dr. Oz, I've never liked him, man.
I don't.
So
I never watched his show. I know nothing about him.
he's
I mean,
an arrogant piece of shit, man. So I mean, he comes across as like I don't know. So it's like this Oprah doctor who gets his own show after a little bit.
right.
It's just like it's the same thing as like Dr. Phil after a little bit. It's like, oh, you're not really a doctor anymore, are you, man? So you're a TV
You're a
guy.
TV doctor.
Yeah, you're a TV doctor. You know, and I mean, it's just like I do get the point behind it. It's like you live in New Jersey. It's right over there.
Right.
So, are you gonna move here, or are you gonna have a post office box here, buddy?
Right.
You know. So, and so I do kind of get that. If anybody tried to pull that here, so
Well, yeah, look, there's precedent for this. Like, I can turn around and say, same things. Like, but Mrs. Clinton, you get your mail in Arkansas, right?
Right,
Why are
yeah.
you running for New York?
right. Well, yeah. Well, no, they lived in the Hamptons. I thought.
Well, they moved there.
I thought that was after he was president. They moved there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But if you're talking
Yeah.
about where are you actually from, theoretically, where you say, okay, where you should be implementing change is your community.
Yeah.
right?
Well, she had been okay. So I stop putting me in the position of having to defend Hillary fucking Clinton. Okay.
You gonna make me do it?
No, I'm not gonna make you do it, man. But like to be fair, she had lived in New York for at least a decade before
So
she
what?
ran for center. Well, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. If you haven't moved here yet, though, that's a little fucked up. Come on, you gotta give me that.
There's enough here to make you to convince me to say, but Jeffrey, these are two different fruits, and you're arguing the same. I'm like, all right, I got you.
I get it. You don't like the fruit, but you know, it's like she actually did live in New York, and she did come from Rochester, if I'm not mistaken. So
So what?
well, that's the point. So like she actually had ties to that community, not the state next door that happens to have it. What state next door to that one that has a fucking opening
Man,
for Senate?
no, that's ties to Rochester. That's not. That's Rochester.
That's in New York. What the fuck? She was a
the
senator.
state. Yeah.
That's what she was. She was a state senator, man.
I know. I know. But if you're from Rochester, I mean,
I don't know any. Are people from Rochester bad?
they're rich.
I don't know. So,
Oh, her family was.
well, yeah. So they're Rodhams. So whatever that is.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to go back on the etymology on that. Like some of those are very, some of those are very straightforward, right? You can say like, oh, well, this person's name is Carter, so they made carts or moved carts.
Right.
As for Rodham,
Yeah. Nah, it sounds like you own something that didn't belong to you. You know? So, at least at some point in time. I have no idea. So, but yeah, no, anyway, so what happened with the whole, did he completely melt down in his debate or something?
well, I mean that's the thing is he backpedaled on a lot of stupid things.
Who, Oz or Fetterman?
Well, it wasn't the Oz show. Nobody gave a fuck about what Oz had to say.
Oh, okay.
It was all about, is Fetterman all there? That's really all it came down to, right? And yeah, he said a bunch of bullshit, and then he stumbled over a whole bunch of things, and you know, there's a lot of things that are like easily traceable. It's like, nah, this dude, you've been saying you've been wanting to ban fracking. He's like, I never said that. Like, you just said it like 2 times this week. But it was that kind of stuff. But there was a lot of like bumbling and stumbling.
Yeah. Was it kind of sad to watch, or?
To me, yes.
Yeah.
Because this is the weird thing about it is, I get why he's popular, right? And I don't like him. But I don't really. It's not my race.
I don't know anything about it.
It's nothing to do with
Yeah.
me. So it's just based off of appearances that I have and why this guy has a certain appeal with a certain demographic. I'm like, I get it.
Oh, sure, yeah, no, he's definitely going to appeal to your angsty left that doesn't want to work.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, there's probably some blue collar guys that probably still are on board that train as well.
Sure. Look, those two crowds are not. They don't always hang out together at Thanksgiving, but they do cross paths from time to time.
Occasionally. Well, when you're running from a rich doctor from a different state. It kind of works.
Okay. We have to correct that. Rich TV doctor.
Rich TV doctor. Yeah. Oh, that's even worse.
Because then you're like,
I mean, I don't know. Like,
it's your last surgery, you know?
Yeah. No, I haven't been watching too many of the Senate races except for Herschel Walker. And then,
okay.
Who's got what is like fifth allegation of, encouraging abortion.
Technically second, but it may.
Oh, okay, whatever.
Look,
yeah,
look. One is all you need. Two is
right,
sort
of
like.
Well, yeah. One's an attempt. The other one's a pattern.
Right.
But I don't know, man. So like some of the polling stuff that I do watch, and I did check out some of this shit the other day. Like even your most like optimistic polls out there in terms of like, the MSNBC crowd, or they're like all hedging their bets now. So
yes.
Yeah, and so like I don't think, and the couple like centrist guys that I listen to, or usually what it is two guys on either side, and they're gonna like, okay, between the two of you guys, this is kind of where the center is on these things,
right?
Kind of stuff. Are all like on that side too. They're like, yeah, they're definitely gonna lose the House, and there's a really good chance they lose the Senate. So. Although there's this weird offset. I mean, have you heard about this guy in Utah?
Which guy?
So he is the guy who's an anti-Trump Republican.
Oh.
He's like deeply Mormon, big pro Mitt Romney kind of guy. So I can't remember his name.
I don't know him either, but I mean, if he swears to Mormonism, then yeah, touching Donald Trump would burn his fingers.
Probably. Yeah, so or cause Donald Trump to burn. Depending on who's got the force that day.
I don't know
burns,
how that works.
It burns. Please let go.
Well, I guess that's the question. I mean, so when they're throwing holy water on Reagan McNeil, she doesn't seem to be liking it. So I don't know if he's the holy water or
right.
Or vice versa. But no, I don't know about him too much. What's this?
So anyway, he's running. I can't remember his name.
Carrots, you faithless slime.
Yeah. No, I don't know about that. So, but like, he's made a promise to everybody in Utah that he will not caucus with either party. So yeah, he says so. Like, I can't stand Donald Trump, and the people, in the Republican Party who support him are not my friends. But he beat the Republican in the primary. So because it's fucking Utah. So the guy he beat was that long-standing senator, Mike Lee, who had been there forever. So
why did he get dunked out?
Well, actually, I don't know if he got dunked out or if basically maybe he did. So yeah, he did. So he got because the Mormons turned on him for some reason. So, and that's just one of those fucking states where you can't do that. Actually, it's the state where you can't do
that. I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know exactly what Mike Lee did in order to piss off the Mormon Church, but they refused to endorse him. They endorsed this other guys, and of course, bam, you're in. Okay, and so it's looking like he's actually going to beat the Democrat. It's closer than I thought it was. I don't know. I'd have to go back and actually look at this. This is like 2-week-old information too, so it might have changed. But the guy promised not to actually caucus with either one. And so if the Senate actually comes down to the point in time where it's a 50-50 split, Well, then of course it goes to Kamala Harris. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But if this guy wins, he instantaneously becomes the king of America.
The most important.
Yeah.
Right.
So as a nobody, brand new junior freshman senator, so he becomes king of America. For the next 2 years.
Which, I mean, we've talked about this before, about, did we ever, on this particular program, did we ever go over our idea of basically the congressional lottery?
Jury duty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think so. I've kind of modified my thoughts on that, though.
What is that?
So, I don't think it would be terribly pragmatic anymore. So, but I think that, like, what it would do now that I think, so the basic idea was to turn the House of Representatives into jury duty, where,
Right.
rather than, so like Colorado's got what, 9 now do we have?
Maybe more.
I think it might be more now.
I think we might be double digits.
We might be. I don't know. They redrew them like 2 years ago.
We have a rule: we don't look things up unless it's absolutely necessary.
It's not actually crucial. So it's somewhere between 8 and 11.
Yeah, exactly. We're I don't know. We're what is it? Is it six Colorados makes a California? So
6 Colorados
whatever.
make
I don't know.
yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. So
Well, I think it's like 10 Colorados make a California. So there's a lot of fucking people living there, man. So, but anyway, the thing about it is that, so our idea was to jury duty out the House of Representatives, limit it to 2, like the Texas legislature, which meets twice a year for like only 4-week blocks. So you'd have to have all legislation prepared by that point in time.
right.
So I disagree with this now. So I think we should just direct vote on bills. So
All of them?
I don't know about all of them, but maybe as like any House bills, so or something like that, because it's the same principle. I mean, they're both based upon popular vote, and so have your House of Representatives, your actual rep, go out there and draft the legislation, and then just actually post it, and then we have a direct vote. So just like we do for the state ballot. So, I mean, like, and that's the thing that I had to look at was, like, we have the ability to amend our own constitution here. Actually, it works pretty fucking good.
Here?
So,
Yeah.
it works pretty good. So I think it'd be fine, across the country too, because it basically get the same effect. So, but the problem with it is, like, here's what's going to happen if you do it the jury duty way. Okay, if you do it the jury duty way, it makes the Senate insanely more powerful.
Yes.
So, and that's a problem. That's just not gonna work. So that's why I've moved away from the idea. I figured, well, fucking just let us vote on it. It's fine.
I suppose. I mean, I'd really have to think of the potential consequences. I see what you're saying. But I guess the consequence would have to be looking at it in a way that, would this still be used essentially to grant additional powers to states beyond the number of representatives that they had?
What do you mean by
I don't
that?
know. Well, because the current system with the House is, all right, so how do you get your representation based on your population? Well, that's the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know if there's any loopholes where that would still be a significant issue.
It might be, but in theory they line up because it'd still be a popular vote. So, and you would take your basically, so Colorado has 9 reps or 10 or whatever. Okay, and so we would have a popular vote across the state. All right, and the delegates would be split amongst the popular lines of the popular vote. So just like they are, in terms of like the national election, the actual, I mean, we are a winner-take-all state, but you could do it the other way, where it's like basically, oh, okay, well, fine, fuck it, we're going to be Nebraska. So, and so, it's to the majority go the majority of the votes. So, and we get 10.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. I don't know. I'd have to think about that to see if there's any way where that ends up being more powerful than it was before.
It might be. I guess like I'd have like three questions that I would need solid Googled answers to these questions. Like number one, how much legislation does the Congress produce on average over say like every year over the last like 10 years?
Jesus,
I don't know how much it is.
Do you measure that by weight?
Well, no, I'm sure I guarantee you there's a website I could Google right now that could give me the answer in like less than 30 seconds. So, because it's not exactly, they don't exactly legislate in secret.
They're allowed to.
No, they're not allowed to. It's on C-SPAN, Jeff.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be able to, like, to do that, but also say, like, hey, get the door. And so, what are they doing?
Is anybody out there in the hall? Close the door.
You got the 2 o'clock in the morning one where they're parking out back.
Yeah. And so, like, that would be like one piece of it. That would be one question that I would need to know. The other question that I would need to know is like, so there's a lot of complication in federal legislation. How hard would it be to actually just blue book it? Because like here we got the blue book, and that's actually in the fucking that's required by the state that you have to write this shit in plain language, and you have to submit it to the Electoral Commission so that it gets in the blue book, and people have to review this so you're not trying to sneak words in there that don't belong in there. So you would need some kind of mechanism that does that, which probably would fix about 90% of the federal problems with the federal government.
I can see that, yeah. If say, for example, we were able to implement our policy on that on a national level, yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this would all require massive constitutional amendments, which are impossible. So it's all
right. We're well into hypothetical.
Right. Yeah. We might as well be trying to redesign baseball. So
But our suggestions for baseball are usually fairly reasonable and within the realm of baseball. Right.
Yeah.
We don't sit there and turn around and say like, well, baseball essentially needs like a 3-point line.
Right. Yes.
So
need some kind of tackle aspect in it. Yeah. A little bit of combat.
So we don't go like crazy like that. It's more so we get really pragmatic. How do you think they could shave an extra 40 seconds out of each exchange?
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. Like, that's the third thing that I would need to know is, like, exactly how much of this would actually be doable. If it's doable on the state level, then it's kind of interesting. So, kind of like the whole... What's the thing that was on the ballot here 2 years ago that everybody was kind of talking about? The joining that voting block.
Oh, yeah.
That was trying to dismantle the Electoral College.
Yeah.
So, that thing would actually be pretty good. So,
frankly, I've seen more convincing arguments that that the Electoral College system should be implemented on the state level.
What does that mean?
That means that same way that we elect the president here, right? In this country, where you take a look at how many electors that you have, you look at the vote, parse that out, that should also be done on the state level.
Why?
Well... The argument that I've seen for that is that it's designed to give additional representation to underrepresented groups.
Yeah, but I suppose that could be a problem in many states.
So let me put
But there's just not that many toss-up states out there, dude. So...
Well, it's not based on that. So this is the big question, right? Okay, it all depends on where you stand on this particular issue. And Patrick, I understand that there are all sorts of shades of gray in between, so don't let me pin you to the wall and say, oh, you're this or this, right? But the question is going to be, do you believe that within each state, especially smaller states, where you say, whatever Salt Lake City says goes, the rest of the state will follow, right? Or if you go to...
New York, yeah.
Right? So there's
Chicago, Illinois, be the same way.
Absolutely. Right?
Yeah.
So there's a question of, is there a way to possibly make this more representative? Now, of course, again, we're well into hypothetical territory, so fuck that. That's not going to happen. But
yeah. No, I see the point before. I just don't see. I don't see minority rights as being in danger in this country.
Well, it's not a question of minority rights.
Well, if you're
about who's being represented. Well, when you say minority, you're not just talking about.
I'm not talking about people of color.
Latinx.
No, I'm definitely not. That's a distinct minority. It consists of white people. So, but yeah. No. Like minority representation in government is not a problem. Meaning minority position, like if you are in the minority. So there are many mechanisms within the entire structure of government, all the way down to the local level, that are designed to protect your rights. So, yeah. And I don't know, man. It would have to depend on the state. It would have to depend on how its legislature is set up, too.
Right.
So, because I know, like, here we have a bicameral legislature. I don't know what the voting threshold is in the Senate here.
Oh, shit. I
don't even know how many fucking state senators we have.
Did you quiz me on this
one?
No.
No. It's just been a long time since I really looked at state government. But I know here in Colorado, the minority is fucking powerful. So, in a lot of things. And that's why we get weird, fucked up laws about certain things from time to time. And it's why we can't overturn shit like Tabor and stuff like that, man. So.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that don't want to.
There are a lot of people who don't want to, okay, but I wouldn't say that they're majority in the state. So.
I don't know.
Oh, I guarantee you they're not.
I have no idea.
Yeah, you could find polling information on that. So anything north of Castle Rock is going to be pissed off at that lot until you hit like maybe Greeley.
Yeah, well, again, you're.
Well, that's 80% of the population of the state right there, man. So.
Yeah, but I remember you're polling your local crowd is the fox hunting club down.
Oh, right, yeah. No. It's the boat club. It's the Colorado Springs Yacht Club. Yeah. So I got a new pair of white shoes that I'm going to wear to it tomorrow. So you know how hard it is to get white shoe polish? So in this fucking time of year? So.
I don't know, Patrick.
Huh? Well, I don't know either. My boy does it for me. So
that's the thing. No, I don't have a pair of shoes to polish, Patrick. All of my shoes won't hold a polish.
Not my problem. So
clearly. Which is why you come on here sometimes and you're like, well, actually, I don't think the average American is struggling.
I don't think the average American is struggling at all. I think he's actually overspent. So,
yeah, I know why you say that.
Yeah. He put too much money in crypto, idiot.
The average American? You're fucking out of your mind. Out of your mind.
That'll teach you. Stocks, bonds, in that order. And then real estate. So that's your play around money.
That thing that you're saying? Yeah, a lot of Americans don't have that.
What, real estate?
Yeah, because they can't buy real estate on a firm for easy payments.
Are there more renters in this country than homeowners?
Oh, I don't know.
That would be important to know before you make a generalization like that.
No, the generalization I'm making is whether or not they have extra income for play around the money.
Yeah.
That I can speak to.
Yeah. I don't know. I've looked at the same numbers. I'm still not convinced. So I'm not entirely convinced on that. I hear a lot of belly aching, coming from people who make substantially more than they did last year or the year before. So,
well, what I can tell you is, here's the numbers.
I get the numbers. So
inflation 8.2.
Yeah.
Wages increase 5%.
Yeah. So, but
so they're losing.
Right, but what's the distribution of those things? So, is like the things that where inflation is showing up, is that at the bottom end of the spectrum? Or is that at the top end of the spectrum? And so what I mean by that is is bread up that much more than college tuition, or medical expenses? Because those are going to hit different parts of the population, so in different ways. And the same thing with wage increase too. So I can totally understand, like, okay, so 3 years ago I was an accountant making $65,000 a year, and this year I'm only making $68,000 a year. The wage growth isn't in my area, but the guys over there at my boat club who serve me drinks make about double what they did 3 years ago. So, you know, the distribution in terms of where that actual wage increase is, I don't think anybody knows the answer to that just quite yet.
No, but again, I can go back to the data that says how many people are having to split their grocery bills into 4 payments.
What was the percentage on that?
Something to the tune of like 68%.
Of the United States? I don't fucking buy that. It was a lot. I don't fucking buy that.
It was a lot, man. I read it to you.
I get it, man. I still don't fucking buy it. I'm going to question the source on that one. So, not you. I mean, I'm not questioning you quoting the source. I'm questioning the validity of that fucking source. So...
Why?
Because that just seems ridiculous to me. So...
Again,
It seems absolutely ridiculous to me.
Completely ostracized, okay, White Shoe Club as your barometer of how the average American is doing.
I'm telling you, there's more of me in this country than there are people out there who are paying 68% for, or I mean,
it's not 68%.
No, I get you. I fucked up my words there. There are more of me, people like me in this country than there are people who have to split their groceries 4 ways. So I will hang my hat on that. So
okay, I'll tell you what, I'll let. Okay, hold on. Now, again, do not take this as a sign of doxing. I'm not going to use any last names.
Sure.
This is all stuff that we've been through.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so could you, for a moment, Patrick, lay out your highest level of education currently completed?
I have a master's degree.
Okay, and how far along are you on the next stage?
Oh, it should be about 3 weeks away.
To what?
My PhD.
Oh, okay. And then, are there any other degrees in your household?
Yeah, my wife's a lawyer.
Okay, so what you're saying here is when you say there are more of me's than there are of them.
Yeah.
Okay. You're saying that there are more families with potentially a doctor in 3 weeks, a lawyer, right? This is what I'm saying.
No, you're making a false correlation here. So the correlation that you're making at this point in time is that my degrees are what I'm talking about. I'm talking about my income level.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
So you're saying that my degrees actually result in higher income than the average American. I'm going to tell you right now, that's fucking bullshit.
Well, but here's the thing is, the numbers don't lie in terms of what the average person with those degrees, right? So that correlation is 100%.
But I'm not the average as far as that goes.
Right. This is what I'm saying.
Okay, so what are you saying? You're saying that, like, there aren't a lot of people out there like me who make less than $50,000 a year? Because that's what I make, bro. So...
But you're married.
But I am married, but we have barely crested 100, okay?
I understand.
For 3 years in a row. If you go out there and if you look at the median income for individuals who are married... We are actually in the 3rd quartile, not the top quartile.
Where you guys are.
Yeah, all right?
I know where you guys are.
And so I'm telling you, there's not that many people out there who are in that bottom 1 quartile compared to me and the people next to me in the second one. So I don't buy it.
Wait, you just said that there aren't that many people near you.
There aren't 68% of Americans in that bottom fucking quartile who need to split up their grocery bills. So... yeah, by definition, 50% of them are going to be pretty fucking close to me. Okay? That's why I think your article's suspect, man. So,
okay, how do you think they get that data?
I don't know. So my question would be like, all right, so first and foremost, like, where are you pulling that information from? Are you pulling it directly from the individuals who are using the service? Okay, great. All right, what about people who don't use the service? All right, are you just... basing it off people who signed up for the service and only 68% of them fucking use it? Well, that's not 68% of Americans. That's 68% of people who sign up to do your shit. And so that's why I'm questioning the article.
Right. So, but that's what I'm saying is that the article didn't say that.
Why?
That was the one that I showed you.
Yeah.
Right. That was the one that you were like, this was after the famous, like, I think people are way better off than... I don't think the economy is really a motivating factor this upcoming election season, because I don't think that they're really in that much trouble. Uptight, snooty thing that you did a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, so I'm going to stand by that, too. So
when the data doesn't support it.
Yeah. Well, I question the quality of your data. So.
Okay, well then, tell you what, I'll give you the other indicator.
Okay.
Okay. Look at the election data.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to say that people aren't pissed off. So, yeah.
And they wouldn't be pissed off just for nothing.
Well, yeah, but we don't know exactly what that nothing is. So,
yeah, that's why they ask them what their major concerns are.
yeah, what are the top 3 right now? One of them's the economy.
Yeah, it's the economy, it's inflation, it's everything that goes with that.
And what's the third one? I thought it was abortion still.
No, actually, abortion is somewhere down in the bottom tier.
Oh, no, it's crime. It's crime.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Crime. Yeah. I did see that the other day. So
yeah, so when they ask them, why are you voting like this and what are your major issues? Yes, Patrick, they do have metrics on that.
Yeah.
And they're saying that the economy is a pretty darn big issue. So if you're saying like whether it's real or perceived, it's getting people to vote.
Sure. Yeah. But I guess my point behind that one is people are going to vote in an election anyway. So we've had record turnout the last 4 elections of the last 6. And so, like, are the turnout ratios going to be that much higher this time than last time? I don't think so, man. You know, because, like, politics is a fucking sport now and everybody wants to play it. So, and that means that, okay, I'm going to find a reason to root for my team. Okay, regardless of, oh, we got a new quarterback this year. Fucking sweet. Let's go do that. All right.
Yeah.
So, and I look around and I look at the data and I see things that, okay, this is bad. This inflationary cycle is the worst that we've seen in 40 years. Okay. Is it normal or is it abnormal? Is it something that's actually caused by something that's been done in politics? Or is it something that's actually much larger? You know, there's arguments out there right now. It's decoupling of the globalized world, blah, blah, blah. All kinds of shit like that. Who the fuck knows? Okay. But really when it comes down to it, like, I don't see that. I mean, it shocks me how much more people make now than they did 5-10 years ago. Okay, I see job postings now that are insane. I mean, insane amounts of money. I mean, there's fucking people out there slinging groceries for making $25 an hour. This is crazy. Okay, so it's absolutely nutso. And so, how the fuck are people actually bitching about? You know, okay, my not my gas, but my milk went up by $1.
Because again, the whole math on it. Okay, so again,
did you drink that much more fucking milk now that you can afford it? So were you still just drinking 1-2 gallons a week? I don't see where this is actually hurting people, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, I can't remember the exact figure, but they said that basically, like, compared to what, like, a couple of years ago, the way it equates out is the average household loses out on $6,400 a year.
With what?
With the current, like, inflation rates and basically the cost raises.
Okay.
Right?
Is that bad?
Hell yeah,
well, then I'll see. That depends on how much of a differential it would be if inflation was 0. So, you know, or if inflation was 1, okay, and it's like, all right, fine, that's $1,000 that were missed out. Now it's at 8%, that's $6,000 that we're missing out. Okay, well, where was I like 4 years ago when inflation was at 0? If I was making $48,000 when it was at 0, but now I'm making $70,000, I'm still way in the black from where I was before. So, even with the inflation.
Man, you are, like, spinning in circles to, like...
I am not spinning in circles.
You are.
I do not have the actual information available that leads me to the same conclusion that everybody's hurting because I see how high salaries are these days. Okay? And I get it. You're saying to me right now, all right, well, salaries increased by this much, and then and then inflation is increased by this much. I question not necessarily the validity of that data. I question what it's actually measuring. If it's doing an aggregate, that's great, okay? But that doesn't tell me the story about the people who are, you know, making $25 an hour this year, when 3 years ago, before COVID, they were only making 12. So...
Yes, I get that. But I totally see what you're saying here, and you're saying that essentially by doing that in aggregate, it doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. You're absolutely right, okay? And again, with our general rule of you and me doing battles with our thumbs during a broadcast is kind of bad, like, you know, because when we're sitting there saying, like, no, hold on, right? That's not really conducive to a good podcast where we don't do any editing. So let me just point this out to you. So, like, if you call me out too hard on certain things, I'm going to have to say, like, I'd have to look it up again.
Yeah,
right.
I would have.
This is as I recall.
Yeah.
Okay. Same thing as I recall, where they said it was like $6,400 that the average household is basically losing or basically don't have.
Yeah.
Right. The question then to me is, yes, there are some people that are going to sit there and say, well, $6,400 is nothing.
Yeah.
Right. The question is, honestly, Patrick, this is the one that you need to ask yourself, right? Does $6,400 a year mean something? Is that a heavy blow, against the average family? I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
Because when you break down the statistics, I don't have those on hand either.
Sure.
But the ones where they break down and say, how many Americans are basically one financial emergency from being fucked?
Yeah, that's been a common theme.
That's one of them.
But that's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
but in real dollars, they're saying right now, that's what's out of your pocket.
Yeah. So, I guess like there's just a piece of the puzzle that's really missing for me. So, well, I guess it's two. It's one, it's like, all right, so where's all this extra fucking money going if milk is only like, even if milk is triple what it used to be, that doesn't account for the difference. So where the fuck's the rest of the money going? Okay, so in terms of this, and then the other one out there is like, what the fuck is going on with the unemployment rate? Every recession that I've been through that was shitty had a high unemployment rate. We don't fucking have that. So it is the unemployment-less recession. And so, like, there's even economists out there who don't know what the fuck to make of it. So, you know, because never seen it before in a situation where you had contraction, continual 2 courses in GDP. So we might even have a third here. So who knows? I haven't looked at it lately, but there's like the unemployment rate is still record low. So like my wife's trying to get unemployment right now. She's having a bitch of a time getting it because they're like, look at the fucking job market, go get a job, you know? So that was not the case, right?
No. Look,
the last couple of times we hit the rocks, man.
So listen, okay, so all right, if we're going to approach this in any kind of either scientific or social scientific kind of way, the first thing we have to start with is we can all fairly agree that the initial cause of whatever conditions we're having right now stems from a completely unprecedented time period in human history.
Yeah.
Right? So you start off with a variable that people are going to have a hard time accounting for.
Sure.
Right? They turn around and say, but what about the Spanish flu? I'm like, okay, gotcha. Did we have credit cards back then?
Do we have airplanes?
It's really, I mean, that's the sort of thing. So I'm like, all right.
Do we have bags of frozen fish?
So yes, I do understand here that you're saying that this is a Granny Smith apple and this is a Red Delicious. They're the same fruit. But actually it's like, no, man, that's a mango. Okay? Right. And this other thing here is a watermelon. So yes, I do understand. So we go into this with unprecedented conditional starters to jump in, right? And you're right, because for being in the recession part, the thing is, we also had record unemployment not too long before that, right? Because of the
yeah, it was a huge spike. That's the Great Reshuffle or whatever they called it. So
the Great Resignations and
the Great
and
Resignations and stuff like that. Yeah,
I like how we're trying to call these things. It's like this is like the Reconstruction. So it's like fucking like I don't know. Patrick, I don't know who the modern-day carpetbaggers are, but I'm sure that they exist in this economy. I can't tell you who
they're going from California to Texas.
Okay. We'll get into that, too.
You're going to ruin that state, too.
Shit, dude, that's right now, that's how Carrie Lake is winning that gubernatorial.
Who's Carrie Lake?
In Arizona.
Oh. Is she a Republican or a Democrat?
Yeah, she's and that's... Part of
Wait
her
a minute, what is she?
Oh, she's a Republican.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, against Katie Hobbs. And part of her platform is we need to stop California where it is.
Right? Gonna build a wall?
Yeah.
Right over I-5 or whatever it is?
Yeah, and she's...
I-40, yeah.
Yeah, as of right now, the last thing I saw, she was plus 11. So, I mean, it's like she's fucking bodying Katie Hobbs right now. But...
Does Arizona had a Democratic governor?
Yeah.
Really? That's weird. I didn't know.
It is and it isn't.
Yeah.
Like Arizona is kind of a weird state, like ours is a weird state, right? We have California elements, but we also have, like you said, there's this weird libertarian mountain spirit that...
there's something weird going on in Arizona, man. So when I go down there to see my in-laws and watch Arizona local TV, it's kind of nasty. It's very Fox Newsy. And so...
Yeah, I can buy it.
and then, like... So, well, I don't know. It's really unfair considering that my in-laws live in the middle of a golf community. So my white shoes fit in really well.
Well, I'm sure they do. Look, I don't.
So it is extremely Republican.
I don't know what it. I don't know
Yeah.
which realtor they have that is actually selling plots in the Garden of Eden, but they got
Right. Yeah.
they've got a plot there, where God says, just go and pick off my trees. And,
Right. Yeah.
just don't eat off that one.
Don't eat off that one.
It's a hot dog tree, but
It's a donut tree.
but yeah, so
Those are my fucking donuts.
but yeah, that's part of it. It's kind of the same thing. There's pockets of that where like Texas is sort of like that too, where it's you have a lot of Texas, and then you have like San Antonio, then you have
sure.
like Austin, right? Where you have this weird mix. Florida, same thing, right?
Yeah,
Tons and
Florida's
tons
kind of
of-
weird.
Tons and tons of old people, right? But then you have young people,
Yeah.
right? And more so, then you also have a huge mixture of like Latin communities and South American communities that people seem to think are one block, but are as far from it as possible.
Yeah.
And this is on the cusp. I've joked about this before, but I'm absolutely certain that Mexicans are about to be kissed into the white race.
They're pretty close, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're about to be kissed in. It's
They're
like,
pretty close. Yeah.
the Irish did their time, the Italians did their time, the Jews did their time,
Yeah.
and the Mexicans.
The Koreans are next.
Koreans are weird, man. Koreans are,
Dude.
oh, they're again, and that's to say that the Asian bloc is the same thing either.
Yeah,
It's not.
no, it's not. Yeah. So
Koreans are different because it's like, well, this sounds communist.
I don't know, man. I see
yourself.
dude, I see so many fucking like I don't know how I got hooked on this, but just on my YouTube feed, I see all this Korean street food. Okay. And they make breakfast like any American would love breakfast.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
eggs and toast and bacon. You know,
Yeah, but they also make it in a wok, which is weird.
it's
but
totally
it comes
fine.
out-
It comes out
yeah.
great. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, Korea's next. They're almost there, man. So they got the baseball, they got that. So
It's not the baseball thing.
I know it's not necessarily baseball.
Well, no. Baseball could be a contributing factor, right?
It's kind of a starter kit that we send out.
The question about whether Koreans go into full white mode or not, right?
Well, I don't like. Yeah, okay.
No. Look, this is the thing: is you and I both know that white is a conglomeration of places that have as diverse cultures as any.
No, I understand where you're going
right.
with that. I just like, I don't know. I'm thinking more along the lines of like Mexicans are going to get fully blessed as full-blown Americans here pretty soon.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Right.
And like I said, I think Koreans are next in line.
Well, and that's the thing. The reason that they're probably going to get pushed that way,
Yeah.
right, is it's all going to come down to basically like the Harvard situation.
What's that? Oh, the affirmative action thing.
Absolutely. It's because when you come down and say like, wait, we have to work this much harder for you to openly say,
Yeah.
like, you know what, you guys are doing too well on the test. We have to change the test.
Yeah, they've been doing that for decades. So
And then that's the hard part is to then turn around and say like, okay, well, what else you got? Do you have any extracurricular activities? Yeah, all of them.
all of them, all the things. You know what the hottest one lately has been?
Oh.
Squash. You got to pick an exotic sport that you could be pretty good at. So that's the latest one. So
I've heard squash and I've heard pickleball.
oh, you've heard pickle? I think I've heard pickleball.
You know,
as well.
you're. I guarantee you, your in-laws know what pickleball
Oh
is.
yeah. So I didn't realize it was a sport, but I have heard that one. Yeah. So
Well, I'm not talking about like fucking like competitive cornhole or whatever.
that's next, man.
Yeah.
So well, that'll get you in the Ohio State.
I don't talk about those guys.
Oh yeah, that's true. So
But yes, that's sort of the next.
Yeah,
demographic
Mexicans are
shift.
really close. Mexicans are really, really close.
You know what? When it comes down to having put up with people's shit for long enough, I think it's deserved. Like, so after you weather the 10 millionth, like, welfare checks under the work boots joke. After you've gone through 4 decades, 5 decades of that, eventually it's like you have to just like slap them on the back and say like, "Hey man, you didn't quit." Right? We did everything we could to get rid of you.
You're not making it sound very good here, man.
What I'm doing is I'm telling you the realistic story about immigration in this country, right? I'm telling you that nobody was really welcome except for those first, like, 50 years.
Yeah. No, that's true. Not even the Catholics back then.
Hell no.
So, yeah.
No.
Not even those. You could stuff them all in Maryland.
In Maryland, or, you know, like, I understand that the Spanish Catholics have got something going on way the fuck down there, but as long as they stay down there, things will be fine.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
Yeah. Just you wait.
Just you wait.
You're not safe.
Yeah. We're going to turn that into the weirdest state in America. So, where are you going to run to, huh? There's an island 90 miles over there. So.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's that, and that's sort of...
So is that what's going on in Arizona?
Well, Arizona is kind of weird in the sense that they have... It's a retirement community, which attracts a certain crowd, right? But there's also a lot of people that are fleeing, well... New York, California, especially during, like, you do the move to remote, right?
Sure.
It's like, why do I have to drive from San Jose every fucking morning?
Yeah.
When I can just live out here and email. Look, there's a huge fight in Apple right now where the workers have like half a revolt going on saying we don't want to come back to work.
Yeah.
And
I'm not optimistic about those anymore.
What, the remote jobs?
I'm not.
Well,
yeah.
The one that made me... Okay. So on a positive news, or negative news, depending on how you want to take it, Mr. Musk did take his first steps into the Twitter office today.
Oh, did he? Is he closing that deal or what?
Friday.
Oh, okay.
And his edict is that he is going to fire 75% of the employees.
They don't need him. Yeah.
Well, they don't. And the other part that's fantastic is this was the same time where Twitter employees have been posting videos about what their day is like there.
Mm-hmm.
And
playing pinball all day?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Shut this place down.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So, I mean, I'm not relishing this, but I mean, collecting liberal tears is what makes my peach trees grow.
Oh.
So, I mean, there is a part of this where you look at the crowd that's there, okay? And I'm not picking on just this group, but I'm picking on not the same thing I was picking on you for with that exclusive rich man's club that you hang out with. But there is a certain attitude in this place where you're looking at people that consider themselves like blue collar guys, right?
Who? The
Twitterati, the groups that are there, the ones that...
Why do they consider themselves blue collar guys? That's impossible.
I understand, but these are all people that consider themselves like we're working class people.
Oh fucking shit!
I understand. Right? Look, I get you. Okay, I totally get you.
Yeah.
But this is where their concept of basically political ideas come from, and it's a total hive mind there, right?
Yeah.
And so seeing this flushed doesn't hurt my feelings because you guys have absolutely no respect for diversity except in
So good riddance. They'll find jobs somewhere else. So,
kind of hope they don't.
They will. So, just probably not in the same place, but yeah, like I could never really figure out how Twitter made money anyway. So I looked into it a couple times. So it's kind of convoluted. Mostly has to do with inflating their own stock price. So
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool way to run a business.
It is, especially when you turn around and say, like, what is your product?
Yeah, what is
do
it that you
produce?
actually do? So, no, they'll. So that's the thing about California that's a little bit unique. So in there, 'cause they do have that nest there, and it's all based on that school that's right there. So
Yeah.
that thing ain't going. They ain't putting that thing on wheels. They're moving it somewhere.
No. As a matter of fact, speaking of that, California got bumped up to spot number 4.
On what?
GDP list.
Oh, I thought it was.
They just moved up to number 4.
Who did bump? Britain?
Germany.
It bumped Germany?
Bumped Germany.
Fuck.
Today.
That's, oh man. That's rough. So, I mean, good for California, but I feel bad for the Germans. So,
Yeah, I hear.
California makes a lot of fucking money, though.
They
It
do.
really does.
Yeah, of course they
So,
do. Why wouldn't they?
it's a big state. So does Texas. Texas got to be like 6 or 8 now, then.
Yeah, they used to be 11,
pretty
but
close.
they like shot up in a hurry.
Well,
Yeah,
actually, I think New York's still above Texas. So, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I haven't looked at it.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's pretty close. So, well, New York's like America's London. So, yeah,
Right.
it makes
Yeah,
sense. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
The stock
financial
exchange is not in
capital.
fucking Houston. Thank God.
There is one in Houston. So,
Is it the?
that's where they
stock
fucked with
exchange?
your oil prices. So,
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Totally understand that.
Yeah.
But
but no. Yeah, that's too bad. Germany. So the UK's got to be down to like 6 now. So it's amazing. So like you got the United Kingdom out there.
what a difference 100 years makes.
What a difference 100 years makes. I mean, they got 2 fucking aircraft carriers. You imagine California with 2 aircraft carriers? So, in a nuclear arsenal. So, in a centralized healthcare system. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy how powerful this fucking country is.
This one or the
This
UK?
one.
Oh, okay.
No, this one. That's one of 50, Jeff. So it is crazy.
No, you're right, because I mean, if you flip it around, like in any other circumstance, you'd be like if you considered it like Europe, and then you looked at California and Texas and where they are, and you'd see them like, wait, you guys are part of the same country? It's like,
yeah, that's not fair.
it's like you guys are cheating.
Yeah. So
It's like you got to give me like you
you're
got to
gonna
give me
call
like
another kid every other time. There's 8 of us.
It's like, what is this shit? You got this other one like way up here.
Yeah, right. No, it is. It's pretty bananas. So, and that, I mean, it's just like Europe's in trouble right now.
Yeah.
Well,
the UK, man.
I wouldn't take too much glee in that, man, because that's actually really fucking dangerous.
Oh no, I didn't
So,
say I wasn't taking glee. I chuckled at it. I mean, like you saw that the Liz Truss in and out of there within 4 weeks.
I don't know the whole story behind that. So, there was a podcast I was listening to the other day, and someone was touching on. I'm waiting for Mark Blythe to put his shit up on that. So before I make any things about that, because the guy who took over for her,
yes,
is like a Goldman Sachs dude.
Yes.
And so I don't know anything about him either, other than the fact that I watch this crazy British TV show where they pick on him all the time. So, yeah. And so it's like, okay, so he's a British politician. Got it. Right. So, but let's figure out what kind he was. So in some respects, it was kind of interesting. It looked like they were almost going to bring the last guy back.
Which is insane.
It is insane because I didn't realize how much of a fucking liar that guy was. I saw someone lay that out the other day where he just constantly drops like, not like Donald Trump lies where he actually believes it, but he's actually trying to see if he can get away with it.
I think that's one way to put it. Yeah, that's that.
But Donald Trump just says what he's thinking. This guy's actually like, oh yeah, I did blah blah. I wrote that, kind of like see if anybody's actually gonna go fucking check.
No, it's the kind of shit. It's the kind of shit you would tell your kids to fuck with them, right? It's like you just.
Exactly.
It's just like you're.
So I was in the Marine Corps.
Exactly. Yeah, you're in the Smithsonian. It's like we see the Declaration of Independence. So it's like my dad was on that.
My dad was on it. Yeah.
It's like really. And then every fifth thing comes out where, because you are the prime minister, you actually say, I'm friends with that guy. You're like, right, sure. You know what? Sure. Okay. You're a movie star. Yeah, it's I gotcha. Like, that dude is...
I don't really know that much about him either. So I didn't watch British politics all that much. They just found this weird TV show full of rubber puppets, which is really hilarious. So, yeah.
Was it actually a British show?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say, that does seem sort of...
The guy who plays Joe Biden on that is Billy West. It's great. So...
Does he actually give him a hard time, or no?
What?
Does he softball him with his presentation of...
Oh, no, he's an idiot who flips pancakes. So...
Listen, man, I don't want the fucking SNL treatment of this stuff.
It's British TV. They don't do that. So... Well, you know more about that than I do, so no.
Well...
But it's satire, so no. So, I don't know. They're pretty cruel on Greta Thunberg, so... Yeah.
British satire is weird.
It is weird, man. That's why I watch the show.
It's weird in the sense that usually... Like, the satire doesn't last as long, right? There's no real version of, like, The Daily Show.
No.
British TV.
No. They get right to the point.
Yeah.
This whole thing's like 2-minute skits.
Yeah,
that's it.
You're in there to make the joke and get out. Instead of the best way I can describe that entire like Comedy Central block is like masturbatory at best. Because that's really what it was.
Didn't those guys get fired recently?
I know Trevor Noah, like, he's out.
I thought John Oliver was out too.
Wouldn't surprise me because I don't really know what he brought to the table in any way except
I've never liked that guy.
Slower and more boring version of
I've never his monologues are irritating. So
yeah, and I know that Samantha Bee's out, who
she's been out for
she well, not a long while, but like a year.
Oh, okay.
Which
I never really watched any of that. The only one that I used to watch was Colbert. So, and then he got weird when he,
when he went over to what?
NBC? He would go make all the monies. So, yeah. But, hey, man, he likes money. Whatever.
We all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his show used to be really good. So.
Well, it was funny.
It was funny.
Let me just put it that way. It was funny.
Yeah.
Right? It's just not.
No, none of those shows are funny now, dude. I don't even watch them, man. So the evening news comes off, all right, at 10:30. All right, fucking Jimmy Fallon's on after that, so I immediately go back to YouTube.
You do anything else, man.
Absolutely. That guy's insufferable. So, yeah, and I mean, I'm sorry, I got to stick to my ABC News,
No, that's fine.
So, yeah. But, no, that guy's absolutely insufferable. I can't even, I mean, I used to stay up and watch, like, Craig Ferguson back in the day. So, and then it went over to James Corden, right? Oh, that guy is horrible. I think he took over from Craig Ferguson, if I'm not mistaken. So,
you could be right, man. Yeah. Being a late night talk show host.
Well, and they booted Conan, and so he was actually pretty good. Yeah. So, I mean, he had his days where it's like, shut the fuck up. But then there are other ones. It was like, that's pretty spot on.
No, the style. I mean, that's the thing. And every now and then it's like, God, shut up, Andy.
Just stop that.
Yeah, let's our best friends. Dorks. No, so there is that. And you know what? They work as a team, which is the good part. But that, like, people don't know. Like, people have no idea what, say, like, even the Letterman Leno years were like.
No, they don't remember that.
And they sure as shit don't know what the Carson era was like. Because I was ass into that, right?
Yeah, that was when I was like, Dad would be like, yeah, you can watch it for 10 minutes, then you have to go to bed. Yeah. Kind of thing.
You catch the opening monologue.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because, I mean, this was a different time. It was like, think about the fucking guests that Carson had. Like, fucking, where did I hear? It's like Dr. Joyce Brothers was on Carson, like, 103 times.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it. It was a different era, but there's a totally different definition of. It's like it doesn't matter. This is just it's an institution that is only going on for tradition's sake.
All it's out there for is to promote movie appearances. So that's all they get. They do get up and coming comedians from time to time, but not if they can actually book somebody like Bill Burr again or something like that.
Yeah, that dude pretty much only does Conan, or at least he used to.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
because those guys were friends.
I've seen him do a couple other ones here and there, but yeah, he used to do Conan a lot. So sometimes you get a big name comedian, sometimes you get a musician who's dropping a new album. That's about it.
But even that's not.
You don't even get that in regularity anymore.
That's not the. That is certainly not the event that it used to be. Right.
You don't get authors anymore. So you used to get authors to get a new book out there. They don't even do that anymore. They all hit the podcast circuits instead.
Yeah.
So
shit. Remember when each late night show used to have their own individual animal guy?
Oh yeah. Like Jack Hanna and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's where Steve Irwin came from.
Yeah.
So you're totally right. So,
and the other dude from Animal Planet that was huge for a long time, but I can't remember his name.
I think that's Jack Hanna. So
No. He was a younger guy.
Oh, I know which guy you're talking about. Yeah. So
I can't remember. He was everywhere for a while, but super nice guy. But
really nice guy. So they made a cartoon off of him.
Get out of here!
No, they did. Yeah. So
was it like on par with like Liberty's Kids or what?
No, man. So wasn't trying to ram that fucking freedom shit down your throat. So you live in the greatest country in the world. You should defend it. So
no, I mean, like I don't. I'm not picking on Liberty's Kids in terms of that, but in terms of like, was this an educational show where?
Yeah, it was like that. Okay. So it wasn't quite like Wildcrats, but it was pretty close. So
what is Wildcrats?
Don't worry about it, man. It's a kid's show where these two guys turn into robotic animals and go live amongst the animals from time to time.
Okay,
my daughter loved it. It's actually a pretty good show.
Well, hold on. So if I had a quarter right now, okay, what is the odds on the flip that my brother knows what Wildcrats is?
He knows exactly what it is.
Okay.
I'm not going to take your money, buddy. I'm not going to take it.
So Will for sure knows what
what a Wildcrats is. Okay. So yeah.
Okay. All right. But yeah, okay, so it's that kind of show, but
it's that kind of show.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, TV just like, I don't know, I've been watching more sports lately, and so I was watching all the commercials and the ads for what TV shows are actually up on prime time, and stuff. They're terrible. So it's just reiteration of, hey, crime show, hey, fucking teenage angst drama. That's, not Glee. So, and then, it's just nothing's changed, man. And so, there's like, I mean, you don't have to dig that far to find like good stuff out there. And so it's like they don't even really try anymore because they know they're going to fill it in with Dancing with the Stars or The Voice or whatever.
Well, yeah, that's the stuff that I see a lot of. Masked Singer, that kind of stuff.
Masked Singer, yeah.
You know why?
It's live TV, man. I guess it still works on a certain level.
Well, it does. And the other thing, the reason that they love live TV and reality stuff, you don't have to hire writers.
Yeah, that's true. You don't have to worry about all that stuff.
You do have a writing staff on reality shows, but it's not the same. It's not.
These are B comedy writers, So
well, you didn't invent these characters.
Correct.
These were personalities that exist. You just sort of turn it into a narrative that feels like it has a beginning, middle, and end, which, oddly enough, the average human being does not have in terms of like. Patrick, in terms of classic storytelling, how many character arcs do you think you've gone through in your life?
Me?
Yeah.
Maybe like 2. So, yeah.
So if I were to try and tell that in, say, 115 minutes...
Oh, God, it'd be so boring. I wouldn't make people watch that, man. I wouldn't even think about doing that. So...
Yeah, therein lies the conundrum with all the reality stuff that I see.
Yeah, sure.
you have to take these people and essentially try to give them arcs.
Uh-huh.
But these are arcless human beings by nature.
Well, yeah. Yeah, they didn't have to come back and, like, find their wife. What's the Telemachus story?
What?
Remarried. Odysseus. So, come back and find his wife, remarried, runs into his boy and has to sneak into the place, in order to, like, restore your former glory. No. These guys have not done that.
No. As a matter of fact, a lot of that is like sassy black yelling.
There's a lot of that.
It is shocking how much reality television is.
I'm not shocked by that. So I can't stand reality television anymore, man. So every now and then some of it leaks into like something that I'm doing. It's like, get that out of here,
Right.
So yeah,
right.
ew.
Yeah.
So
That's how you get cockroaches.
Exactly. Get.
You can't leave that out.
Yeah, give me the spritz.
Right.
So sometimes it happens, man. So because they still have a soft spot for Entertainment Tonight, and it's on after the news, and so sometimes it rolls over, and then I get 15 minutes of fucking reality TV after that, and yeah, I got to spray down the TV.
You do. I mean, look, and a lot of it, to be fair, Pat, I would say that this is going to sound ridiculous, but so much of the work I get is all just about like house rehabbing.
Oh yeah. No, that stuff's huge, man.
So boring.
Some people get into it, man. So, like, my in-laws been into that for years. My mom's into it. So, it's kind of an older demographic kind of thing.
Is it?
It is. Yeah. So, like, every piece of TV out there is designed for somebody, and that one's, for people who are like, oh, well, we've been retired for 8 years, and we've had these countertops for 4, so let's see what's on the HGTV, so maybe we can get some new ones, So,
all right, like, I get that. I mean, I was surprised. I was surprised how, like, some of these people are actually stars. Like, there were like these 2 shows, and these guys kept appearing. It was this set of, like, male twins, and they just kept popping up.
Property Brothers? I fucking know them.
They look exactly the same.
Yeah, they're from Canada.
Are they from Canada?
One guy's like the realtor, and the other guy's like the fix-it dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the distinction is, like, one will always wear, like, a pattern shirt and have, like, a 5 o'clock shadow, and the other guy...
I think these are different guys, then.
Well, these are skinny guys.
Well, they're really tall, then yeah, that's probably...
They are tall,
yeah,
right? But that was their only distinguishing, like, feature was a tiny little bit of beard.
Well, one guy should be doing, like, all the work on the house, and the other guy's, like, trying to negotiate deals.
Right.
That's them. Yeah.
That's them. And these guys...
They've been on for a decade, man.
But that was the thing, was they kept showing up on different shows. I was like, oh, that's cute.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I didn't know they had this. And then I looked into it. I was like, holy shit, these guys are like...
They've got thousands of episodes.
It's like, what is this?
Yeah.
And their whole appeal is just that they're twins?
Well, I guess, but, like, the thing is that was unique about their show. I remember when their show first came out. So
you're versed in this, huh?
Fuck yeah, we used to watch this one all the time. So,
okay, tell me.
Yeah, well, like I said, my in-laws are always into this stuff, so whenever we were over there, they would have various of these shows on. But that one in particular was like, oh, okay, so they'd find somebody who needed, like, to decide, what are we going to do with our house? And so it's almost like Fix It and Flip It, but it was 2 brothers,
right,
who could do a lot of the work for you, kind of thing. And then, like, one guy was, like, the design and actual builder guy, and the other guy was, like,
he's the realtor guy.
He's like the realtor.
He's the business.
He's the business, and so then you got to decide whether or not you're going to keep it or sell it or whatever, at the end. It was very similar formula to that other show with the lady there's one with this white streak in her hair. So, and she's the architect. She's got a very British accent. I can't remember her name. And then there's a dude who looks like a realtor, who's actually the realtor. I think that was called Fixer. I can't remember. Flip or Flop, or
was it Love It or List It?
Love It or List It. There you go.
Good job, dude. Yeah, okay.
That's the one. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you gonna love it or are you gonna list it? That was always the question at the end. Yeah. So I got you, man. So I'm telling you, this stuff is different. This stuff is really popular with a different demographic. There's 2 demographics that appeal to people who are my in-laws' age, and then like young people who are like really like pining for like home ownership. So in some
Oh,
respect.
okay, right,
So
right,
I'd be
right.
like, oh,
right.
well, yeah, let's see what we can get on the market and stuff like that. I've had students who like, are really like way eager to get into real estate and stuff like that, and so they just eat those fucking shows up.
Yeah, but I guess that's the thing is there any presentation that I could put in front of you, right? Any way that I could turn around and make a weekly show interesting enough about model trains to get
No.
you to watch it?
No, every week.
Yeah.
No, the topic's just not that big, so
But
there's just not enough room in the topic to do something like that. I mean, maybe a YouTube show that would have a couple hundred people, but not a fucking TV show. No way. So,
that's what I'm saying is to me, like, this property stuff, that feels about as shallow to me as like model trains.
it's not a matter of how shallow it is. It's a matter of how much audience appeal it has. That has nothing to do with like the content. It has to do with how many people can relate to that shit. And there's a lot more homeowners out there than there are people who play with fucking model trains.
all right, I got you.
Yeah. So,
All right.
yeah, it doesn't like. I mean, that's the whole thing about like. I don't know, that YouTube guy. I really got into some of his stuff the other day and realized that with my other channel, it's basically never going to grow past a certain point just because of the topic that I picked. So, and that's fine. I'm happy with that.
But that's the point.
Well, it wasn't when I started it, but it has become lately. Okay, but that's because it's based upon audience, and so you really have to kind of look at like, all right, so if I'm the Property Brothers and I get 30 million people tuning into my shit every week.
Right.
All right, that tells me there's a big fucking market out there. And so that means that there's a lot more shows that can be on that stuff because there's that big of a fucking market out there for it. And so, you don't have to be as big as them, but maybe you can peel a few folks off of them. So by following their show after following their show with your show,
Yeah.
And that's that whole formula. That's why all those shows look the
Yeah.
samey, man. And so, and so it's just exactly the same with any kind of content creation. So,
I'm going to tell you, I think my new least favorite show is Restaurant Stakeout.
I don't know anything about it.
I'll talk to. I guarantee you, William will know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But I think I hate it. I think
hate is such a strong word, Jeffrey.
No, man. There's two shows. There's two shows that I absolutely hate, and I only like one of them. I'll almost always send back, right? Because I refuse to listen to it. It's those NBC dinks, and you record them, and it's basically for the show called Circus. It has so many of the stupid NBC faces that you know.
Hey, Savannah Guthrie.
Yeah, actually, yeah. But the thing is, the ones that you always record for that are basically their conversations leading up to the program, right? And what always pisses me off is their language is so diminutive towards basically anybody left of San Francisco. So, like, the most recent one, okay, they were following around the guy who's running against Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, he's not going to win. He sounds like a nice guy, right? Yeah. But his campaign manager must have said the words MAGA chud. Okay.
What is a MAGA chud?
Dude, it is exactly what you think it is. It's basically like, this is my way of saying that you are a subhuman person.
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
Right? And the dude must have said that about 60 times. And it's so diminutive. And the way he's just talking about, like, there's like a couple of good Republicans, but, most of them have been indoctrinated by this white supremacy, blah, blah, this MAGA chuds.
Oh, what's the stat that I saw a couple of weeks ago?
God.
It was like 20%, so according to some polls, so like 20% of the electorate consists of white Christian nationalists. And it was like, no, it doesn't.
White Christian nationalists.
Yeah, exactly.
Meaning what?
I don't know exactly what that means, man. So, but it's definitely designed to, like, oh my God, the fascists are going to take over America, yada, 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 kind of thing. I'm so sick of that fucking talk, man. It's just like, all right, like, all you guys who are on either side, so like I would have to say that there's a big chunk of MAGA Nation that is going to disappear in the next couple of years.
Well,
So
it's a train that cannot sustain itself.
well, yeah, okay, that's a good way to put it. So, but the other thing is like people are just going to climb down off that after a little while. You know, it's not that fucking bad. And, you know, the world's not, like, burning yet and kind of thing. No. And, you know, they're not going to come take your fucking guns, even if Joe Biden is in the White House. So kind of thing. And so, you know, you do get this, like, kind of, like, trough where people do chill out a little bit. So a lot of people are going to climb down off that. So your Twitter, you know, soon to be laid off people,
yes,
are going to rapidly become fucking irrelevant, you know, because I don't know how many people that I've heard who are just fucking sick of it now at this point in time. They're like, okay, I'm tired of being called a racist. I'm not going to put up with it anymore. All right. So, and you know what they do? They don't fight back. They just ignore them now. And that's exactly the best way to fight those fucking people. It's because it's just gotten to the point in time, it's like, oh, ooh, I'm canceled. Ooh. Right. You know, what are you going to do? So, you know, kind of thing. So, you know, and it's just, yeah. It's like, yeah, cancel me. I'd like Friday off. You know, no.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just not working anymore. And so, you know, like, so a guy stomping around a fucking political, you know, powwow, you know, like that, talking MAGA chuds, that dude's not gonna have a job in 4 years. So, you know, he's absolutely not gonna have a job, you know, because what we're gonna find out, and this is the one thing that I really want to see what happens in this election, is like how many of the fucking weirdos get in. So my guess is 0. So, you know, you do have a few out there here and there, so who've been primary candidates and stuff like that. But, you know, really when it comes down to it, so maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene's a little bit out there, but she's also going to tamp down over the next couple of years, all right? So is Lauren Boebert if she doesn't decide to go fucking, you know, host something on Fox News, all right? But this whole thing that started, I would say it started probably in 2010 or maybe 2012, around the time, where, you know, you were unseating people who had been in Congress for a little bit of time with absolutely fucking psychotic candidates. So, bro, it's been 10 years, man. It's about to actually fucking spin itself out. So, you know.
Well, I mean, look, I've made this point before. You know what I mean. Especially when you talk about this, like, fucking Christian white nationalist shit. It's like, dude, fascism takes effort.
Fascism does take effort. Well, I mean, I feel the same way when people start calling out, oh, imperialist America, blah, blah, blah. I was like, we should actually fucking try it then. You know, if you're going to slap the label on us, man. I'm not putting up with that shit anymore either. I was like, fucking put your cards on the table. Show me what you mean by that. You know, it's like, oh, it's military. That's my catchphrase. That's my dog whistle right now. When people talking about the military-industrial complex, it's like, fucking prove it. All right, put your money where your mouth is on this shit.
Yeah.
So, and I gotta be fair, man. I do listen to people who espouse that shit, and I'm like, all right, man, I'm gonna stick with you. I'm gonna see if you change your tune on this over the next year or so. You know.
Well, again, the other point of that is, okay, so you're laying into that. What's the point that you're trying to make?
Well, and that's right. Just get to the fucking point. So tell me.
What about it?
Yeah, exactly. So get to the point. All right. Tell me what you don't like about this. So, you know, and tell me what you think we should do about it. Oh, wait, I can figure that out in 5 minutes. We should elect more Democrats. It's like, no, that's not a good argument for that, man.
Totally understand.
So you got to find a better argument. So got to find a better argument if you want me to do that. So,
I mean, I do have a hard time with that because there's this weird thing where you know, you try to disrupt an argument by talking about like colonialism and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, no, I got you, but can you tell me what the native French looked like?
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah. So, well, even that,
I don't know.
Most of the time, like, I don't know, man. I've been really, really wise to this shit lately. I can sniff out the Marxist argument so fast now.
Your Marx-detector.
Dude, I am, man. Like, it is fucking sensitive.
No, man, I've seen it. Like, I don't know if it's the force or you actually have to bust out, like, the EKG where the two, like, meters pop
the
out.
Two little antennae.
And then you're just like, fuck, man, I've got, like, 20 millihertz of Marx in here.
I got, like, 2 bars.
Yeah.
gotten wise to it, man. Just because it's one of those things. It's like, oh, okay, this is going to turn into an argument about capitalism, which is going to turn to an argument about how the working man is oppressed in this country, which is going to turn to an argument about why we should do X, Y, and Z. So, and it's like, I've heard this so many fucking times. So, and then you're going to sit here and tell me that, oh, okay, so the United States should look more like Sweden. It's like, how many states do we have on the top 10 list? So,
well, again,
nothing gets better. So, if we actually do things like that. And then it's always this thing, oh, we should have a 30-hour work week. It's like, fine. All right, maybe you should have a 30-hour work week. If that guy over there is willing to work 60 and work double your job, fucking let him, okay? We're going to see how that works out for you, man.
Look, there's a part of it where I think that we do need to rethink some of our labor strategies because some of them will become problematic over time.
Like what?
Well, look, I'm going to say this. In some ways, it's probably for the best that we did some of the COVID lockdowns because our attitude towards getting sick at work is so awful.
That one I think is actually somewhat cured. So
I really hope so, but that's what I'm saying. Because if we did that before, look, I can tell you how many times I would have been like, amount of days off, gotta go to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
No. We're much better about dropping the C-bomb in order to get out of work.
Let me go ahead and COVID up the whole fucking office.
That's absolutely fine.
I guarantee you, my dad would have gone with COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
Your dad probably would have too.
Well, if he had sick time, or if he didn't want to use comp time, then yeah, he would.
That's what I'm saying.
And he would have probably licked his hands before he touched every door.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
So I'm gonna lick all the buttons on the microwave.
Yeah. So I will say that there are certain things that we need to reevaluate in terms of like, fucking, if people are sick, get them out and stop.
Yeah.
Stop treating it like it's a stigma, right?
Yeah.
So there is that. But I mean, I guess go ahead. Like, cause I gotta reformulate this because there's something about it that I'm tired of that argument. I'm tired of going down that path.
Yeah.
And not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just that I haven't heard a meaningful solution in quite some time, except for the consequences of, yo, man, if we went to work while this was going on, we'd have had 5 times, 10 times the deaths.
I don't buy any of those arguments anymore, man. So, I mean, there's probably a little element to it. So the 3 weeks or the first 4 weeks when it initially hit in late March and early April of that year, okay, fine. Nobody knew what the fuck was going on. At that point in time, if we hadn't had like a 60% death rate from that thing, she probably should have learned something from that. But hey, man, it's okay. I'm going to give everybody the entire summer as a pass on that one. Sure, why not? Yes. We parked hospital ships in front of major cities just in case. Totally cool. All right, but eventually, after a little while, it should have become fairly patently obvious. Now, like, as far as how that actually applies to industrial policy and how, like, the workforce should actually look, man, I mean, if you want to actually fix inflation in this country, that's how you fucking do it. You work harder. So, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, because there's just, like, so many other things out there that are kind of, like lining up where, like, yeah, a $5 gallon of milk is going to be the norm for the next decade, So there's like, I don't know either, but, to tell you the truth, like, eventually the Fed's going to have to face, like, kind of its own comeuppance on this one because of printing money so easily and cheaply for the last 8 years just to ship it out overseas, investments and stuff like that, which are imploding as we speak. Okay. Which is fine because that doesn't do us any harm, but it wipes out investors who learn not to do that shit. So, that was your dog. He's having a bad dream.
Yeah, she did. Yeah,
I mentioned her portfolio.
Well, you gotta understand, she's sitting on like $6,500 worth of Soldano. And,
oh my god! Yeah.
And
Evergrande.
I'm sorry. Was sitting on.
Right.
That was the initial investment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So,
yeah.
She's got, 2 nickels to rub together now. And that's great. Yeah, there's that. The other component of this is, that utter denial, like you just said there, where the argument over inflation, right? I'm totally as far like I'm starting to just really get tired of the one word explanation, right? Of whatever it is. It's like, well, this is just a supply side.
Supply side, yeah.
It's like, well, I'll bet you that's part of it, and just the other piece here is there are some people in office right now that refuse to accept that it is a numerator-denominator problem too.
That's probably a big chunk of it, yeah.
But it's not, like, I'm not saying that those two things aren't connected or play in together, but to turn around and say, like, well, it's just because you turned on the money printer. I'm like, yeah, you have to when everybody's sick, right?
Yeah.
I made this point from the beginning. This was an Argentinian student, so she's kind of like, this looks like inflation. She's like, or not Argentina, but Venezuela. She's like, this looks like inflation. I'm very scared of inflation. I'm
sure.
Like, you have absolutely every right to.
Yeah,
but the problem here is you have to just deal with this one later, right? You have to get everybody through this no matter what.
Yeah.
And accept the consequences later. And hopefully you have the class and dignity to do it in a good way. We did not.
About what?
It became finger pointing in a hurry.
Oh, I don't think it could not become that.
Of course.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
But that was the whole thing, is like, you do whatever it takes to get through it right now because we've never had this before. Right?
Yeah.
The pandemic?
Oh, the pandemic? Yeah, no. I thought you meant the inflation.
Well, this is what I'm saying. It's like the part where you have to print money like crazy because people are losing their... Do it.
Yeah.
You have to do it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's some arguments like maybe we didn't do that quite the right way and stuff like that.
Oh, of course.
Those are all fine.
Right. No, and I'm going to agree with you that this is the same sort of thing where you can argue the finer points of it and say, like, you messed up here, you did too much of this, not enough of this.
Yeah.
But the willingness to say, like, hey, we have got to handle this is the right attitude.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, turning out your pockets and saying, I don't have guys, like, I don't know who's got your money. Those are like...
Yeah, and I mean, just like in 2008, you're going to have a lot of backseat drivers, who turned out to be right, who are going to be insufferable for the next 5 years, but... at the same point in time, I mean, you're right. We're just going to get through it. It's going to be fine, all right, sooner rather than later in a lot of respects, because quite honestly, like, when it comes down to it, man, this fucking country is still the truck that's blocking all the lanes on the highway. And it's going to. Yeah.
Okay, so here's your history lesson. Okay.
Yeah.
When did the United States become the #1 GDP in the world?
It was like it was right either before or after the turn of the century. So,
okay, so here's the thing: yes, it is still in the 1800s, right?
Yeah,
and I can't remember, but it's
before World War I.
Yep. And there's a pretty significant mark that happens like around like 1857 too. I can't remember what it is, but it's another huge, milestone, right? Yeah. How many times have we relinquished it since?
0.
Ain't that something?
Yep.
What does that tell you?
Yeah. And we ain't gonna relinquish it anytime soon. So, all the doom and gloom over China over the last 5 years is just, it's been...
Oh, they got even worse.
Oh my God.
They swore in Xi for a third term, and he filled it with his fucking idiot friends. And
it was like a no girls club right off the bat, man.
Christ, man. Like,
so yeah. And then that's the narrative that I'm getting fucking tired of. That the American imperialists, the fucking capitalism doesn't work bullshit. The fucking, oh my God, it's gonna be so terrible that Chinese are gonna take over our shit. Oh, it takes 10 fucking years to build a new refinery. And so gas prices are gonna suck forever. And it's like, shut the fuck up with all that.
Have you seen where their trains go?
Yeah, I know. And it's just like always like this thing that it's just like, fucking shut the fuck up. Take a deep breath. Look around you, all right, and realize you're sitting on the fucking best ship in this Navy, boy. And
it's not even close. Yeah,
I know, man.
Because I'm just gonna throw this out here. It's like, all right, we talked about like where we started this with where Great Britain was 100 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Now, again, let's flip this around and say, like, all right, show me any other nation on this world. You say, yeah. Like, that is watching the entire world's waterways. 70% of the goddamn planet, right, is covered with this stuff, and we are doing that on our own.
For free.
For free.
Yeah.
Okay. How many countries, and seriously, then you break it down and say, like, all right, well, that must mean that average life is really shitty for the average American. Now I'm talking to you like, yes, 6,400, I know I'm going against my previous argument.
Yeah.
But what I'm also saying here is there aren't that many families that are like, well, there are 5 of us and 4 saltines. And
yeah, there aren't that many Diet Pepsi-based economies in the United States. Yeah.
I get it. It sucks in some places, right? But yeah, there's still like...
Timmy, you got one yesterday.
Right? You know, it's like, you know?
Right, yeah.
I get it.
No. And I mean, and there's just, like, it won't get any better in the next couple of weeks because, like, after the election, there'll be an entire month or two of bemoaning the election.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, I think about after January, it'll be kind of interesting to see what Joe Biden actually decides to start trying to push through Congress. So it'll be kind of interesting, man. And so
I agree. And one thing I can guarantee you, okay? One thing I can guarantee you is whatever the woes are right now, they're not the kind of thing that get better in 3 months just because you changed a significant number of party members.
No, there's some shit that's baked in the cake.
Well, this is, I guess politics for me sometimes breaks into, like, when they talk about, you know, chimpanzees and humans and things like that.
Right.
Or they go to, like, a white-tailed deer and they say, you know that a deer and a human share, like, 99% of our DNA? And I was like, you're right. Because, like, a deer, it's just, like, their middle finger is, like, super long. Right?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's and you can oh, sorry, dog. It's kind of like when you can look at a dog's paw and you see like the claw like way up here, right? Same thing. It's the same shape. Everything has the same kind of thing, but like this is up here. Cattle have that, and like with a deer, it only has like one hoof because this is essentially an extended like finger, right? And that's where you'll see like the little toes down at the bottom,
I didn't know
like that. So they all come from the same, like every mammal comes from the same progenitor in one way or another.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes I view policy like politics that way.
Yeah.
I think when it comes down to what they most frequently believe, they're about 99% of the way there. Right?
Usually.
But we fight so hard over that 1%. Right?
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. I think, I don't know, to go back to that quote that I think I told you a couple weeks ago. So the problem with the whole thing is that we started treating, we let politics into our sports, and now we expect our sports to be like politics, or maybe it's the other way around. So
no, actually, that's pretty.
Yeah. No,
No, that actually works either way that you slice it.
Yeah, now we want our politics to be like sports.
Right.
In some respects. And so I see a lot of people who, they don't have a love for the game the way that they used to, in some respects. So, because even like, you remember back 2000? So when there was like a week where people were like, what the fuck, man? Blah, 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 blah. But then it went through the Supreme Court and everybody's like, oh, well, thank God that's over. Let's get back to business. You know, and like Al Gore ducked out, kind of like a mensch, you know, in that case.
Sort of.
Yeah, sort of. He had his moments where he was like, oh, well, you know, like, let's let the court decide. Okay, man. All right, we'll let the thing go that way. But then, like, nobody was bitching about that 2 years later. So, you know, when we were in the
Not
thick
true.
What?
Not true.
Well,
oh, no.
it wasn't as bad as you remember it being, man. I remember the thing, like, there was certainly an element of the Democratic Party was like, oh, shit, you know, blah, blah, blah. But, like, you remember, like, maybe up to a year after 9/11, everybody was fucking behind Bush. Except for these fucking weirdos who wanted to turn the, like, you know, the early version of the Green New Deal that Al Gore had proposed.
Oh, yeah,
no,
I got you like that.
Yeah.
But in terms of, so, all right, so I'm going to flip this around for 1 second on what you're saying here, right? This is one of those things that kind of blew up in the face here is about 6 weeks ago, all right, there was this all-out war on saying, like, oh, look at all these election deniers that are running for Congress that may
Right, yeah, sure.
Okay.
I saw some of that crap.
Of course, right? Where they were trying to turn that into the new, like, ultra MAGA, right?
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Well, this was the thing. So the kids these days, they have this thing called receipts.
Right,
you
show me
familiar with
receipts.
receipts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm familiar with receipts.
Okay, so this is...
As if receipts actually settle arguments.
Well, this was the thing. It was like, okay, so you decided that election deniers are bad news, right? It's like, yes, clearly they're a threat to the democracy. So these assholes didn't even take the time to delete their tweets. So you go back in history and say, all right, well, so here's this stack of people saying that 2000 was illegitimate. Here's this stack. Here's Hillary Rodham Clinton saying that 2016 was illegitimate. So were these people election deniers then?
Oh.
Right? It's like, and much like all politics, it boils down to, oh, but that was different.
Exactly. You know, like, so I can't remember. Let me kind of end on this thought because my brain's
please, yeah,
here.
that's fine. It's fine.
So, but there's this thing that's going on in politics that's different, in the last 5-6 years. I'm gonna say it's even before Donald Trump. Okay, so I'm gonna give it back to the fucking birth certificate thing and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
All right, which is when things started getting a little weird. I remember the Tea Party before that, but it was kind of like, oh, okay, we've had.
That's cute.
Well, it wasn't even just cute. It was like we had tax revolt movements before.
Yes.
All right. So even in my political lifetime.
Oh, dude, it's the DNA. It comes up from time.
It's fine. All right. So that was the whole Tabor thing that we talked about earlier. But anyway, so that's like Cro-Magnon Tea Party.
Tea in the water. Yeah. I mean.
So, but anyway, I can't remember who made this point this week. So otherwise I give him credit for this. But it was one of the podcasts that I listened to. And the guy was basically he's like, you know what I'm really sick about politics? And this other guy was arguing about something, that was kind of along the same lines about receipts and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so he just flat out called this guy kind of out. He's like, were you on a high school debate team? And the guy's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I was too. He's like, you know what? That stuff doesn't really work anymore, does it? I mean, just because you have evidence, all right, of something, in this case, you expect me to roll over on my point. Okay, so I'm not going to do that, all right, because basically I'm using it as a stick to hit your side with, okay? And he's like, we should just put down the fucking sticks for a little bit, all right? And he went to this monologue about how he hoped that was going to be the next thing. But this was the guy on the left, all right, that he was kind of along the same lines that you're talking about. But I was thinking about that driving down to work the other day, and I was like, you know what? You're right. That debate team mentality where I score points, and all of a sudden you're supposed to fucking pack up your shit and go home. Nobody does that.
Oh.
It never works. So regardless of who's got receipts on who, it's just like, well, receipts don't defeat me.
Well, okay. This is the thing. This is where when I was kind of rallying against the whole the MAGA chud thing, right?
Right.
So all right, so I taught high school for several years.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I had to learn a lot of the argumentative rules, the logical fallacies and stuff like that, right? So here's the thing: is fallacies only matter, okay, when there's more of your audience than their audience.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Because the whole thing about it is when you call somebody a MAGA chud, which of course is a cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was this dumbass 80s movie. And so it's in
Okay, I do remember that.
Yeah. So in modern culture, it's how you define somebody as subhuman.
Right.
So the very first thing you're doing is, all right, so you determine that a block of these people are less than you.
Right.
Okay. So if I'm to go the first route and say, like, okay, well, I've got a million illustrations on Google that show those cartoon versions of Germany drawing Jews as rats.
Yeah.
And what's the point of dehumanizing people?
Yeah.
It makes it easier to, right? But the thing is, indeed, if we're going to verb his name like that,
I did hear about that.
Yeah, but anyway, it's fine. He says he's one of the tribe.
I get it. It's so weird,
but yeah, that's the whole thing is, if you present yourself as, well, we're the intelligent debaters.
Right, yeah.
Right. We're the pinkies out party of the educated.
Yeah.
Then
you're kind of doing that too right there, man.
Well, this is what I'm saying here is, of course I am.
Yeah.
Because I am a butt.
Right.
Why? Because none of you believe in this bullshit. Right? None of you believe in this bullshit. It's just, all right, I'm going to say this all day long, but it's like you said, like if you show me receipts, I'm going to turn around and say, what's your source? Oh, you got that from there?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how do you verify that?
Yeah, exactly.
No. Okay, I don't trust your source.
Oh, you mean like I did to you earlier today?
Of course. Well, I'm not picking on you.
Yeah, we
right?
kind of are. So.
No, because you're not trying... Dude, you're not trying to sway me. You're not trying to...
Right? No, I'm not trying to hit you with the stick.
So, no, and I'm also not trying to do that either, because I'm like, oh, I read this. I got this off ABC News. I don't know.
Yeah.
That could have been... Pat, you're the one that broke it out to me like, but Jeffrey, statistics are bullshit. And let me tell you why.
A lot of them are, yeah.
Right? So, I mean, there's that piece, but yeah, that's the thing is, you break it down, I could say, well, that's an appeal to authority. This is clearly ad hoc. This is, right? This is an appeal to popular. I can sit there and break down all the things. You don't care. None of these, I'm not going to sit there and say like, huh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
That's an ad hominem, right? And the crowd then goes, ooh.
Right, yeah, exactly. So,
right?
Like, we're going to throw a flag on that.
I remember, just to take this all the way back, like you were talking about when this fall apart, I remember this was something that talked about the Bill Clinton scandal, right? They said, we're America. It's like, yeah. They said, we're dead set in the middle between the UK and France, right? Because they were talking about this as a sexual scandal. They said, if it was the UK, he would have resigned already. If it was France, nobody would have cared.
Right.
But we're America, so we're just going to yell about it.
You can't do either one. So we're just gonna bitch at each other.
And that's kind of the proof of that. Like, again, tell me the stuff right now Trump's going through. This would have sunk a president or even a past president years ago.
Oh, shit. It would have murdered him. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay?
I mean, Richard Nixon's resigned for, like, basically an average Saturday in Trumptown.
There you go. All right. There you go. All right. Okay.
All right. Okay.
No, we're past. That's
all right. I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
I'm hitting the button.
Please.